RLCraft, one of the most difficult mod packs inside of Minecraft. Whether you have a Lycanite breathing behind you ready to suck you into a void, or whether you have 8 wither skeletons shooting you with a bow at the same time, RLCraft is no joke. But playing it in hardcore mode and trying to rush through it in 100 days, that's a real challenge. My goal for the first 100 days is to have a maxed out set of dragon armor from Ice and Fire, and a maxed out sword and bow from Ice and Fire as well. It's some of the most powerful gear inside of the game. I also want a bauble set with the best buffs, maxed out hearts, and I want to have killed the Ender Dragon and every micro boss inside of Lycanites and start preparing to take on the biggest bosses in the game. Day 1 in RLCraft, you need to get flint tools and food right away so you don't die. However, I found the most amazing thing right off the bat. While I was trying to open this chest, I realized that lag was stopping me from opening it, and then I realized why lag was stopping me from opening it. The next thing, you won't believe what happens. As I relogged into the world excited to get my chest, I realized that it had broken, and then I looked around and realized what had just spawned in. This was going to be an insane start. I spent the rest of day 1 raiding this ship and then going into the village and trying to find some basic supplies, such as stone tools and any chickens or food I could find. I spent most of day 2 slaughtering innocent animals, because you see, you need chickens inside of RLCraft to be able to advance to the next stage. Chickens are the most crucial element to the beginning of RLCraft, and we'll explain why later. Oh my goodness, there are chickens inside of a fence for me. Let's freaking go. On day 3 to 10, I know I needed a flying mount now that I had chickens and bones to make avian treats with. Now there are 2 types of early game flying mounts you can make with the mod Lycanites. You can either make a rock or a Rako. Since I was by the water, I decided to get a Rako instead of a rock, because Rakos are a little bit better than rocks. They're a little bit faster and they have a bit more health, and they're a bit easier for flying around in general. As soon as I got my hands on a Rako, I began battle towering right away. You need to get to battle towers so you can get experience, so you can level up your defense, so you can get into diamond armor as soon as you can, so you have at least a chance at not dying by the stray arrow that hits you in the side of the skull. There's a cool trick you can do with the battle tower golems, where if you fishing rod them and then poke them with something later, they register all the knockback from the fishing rod at the same time, and they just go absolutely flying off. Here's a little montage of raiding some structures. Alright, I'm just going to set up this crafting bench so I can make this diamond armor. So let's chuck this wood down. Okay, let's freaking go. Day 6 and I'm already there. Yeah, let's just get rid of all this. Just put this on. Okay, let's craft chestplate first. Leggings, boots, helmet. I think I'll keep the helmet off for now and keep the earplugs in, just in case. Okay, let's get rid of that. I should probably level it up first. That could be useful. Alright, let's frickin' go. Day 11, I was still looting, but I found the most epic dungeon ever. The reason why this is the best dungeon is because some of these top chests have prot enchanted books, they have mending, unbreaking, they have crazy different baubles in them. But the problem is that they're guarded by super hard mobs. So although it was a bit risky, I decided it was worth the risk to try and take on this battle tower now and cheese it, and try and get some of these epic items. As soon as I got the Prot 4 book, I knew I had to pull back and attach it to my armor, so I went to the village that was nearby to see if I could find some more iron to make an anvil, because just in case a stray arrow caught me, I knew Prot 4 would at least give me a better chance at surviving. Put it on my helmet and chestplate because in RLCraft, the only 2 things that can kill you are if your body dies or if your head dies, so I knew Prot 4 on these 2 areas would be the most useful. Then I went back and I looted the rest of the tower and I got these awesome strength baubles and some other amazing things. This was so lucky to find. I was starting to think now about dragon armor, as that's sort of the next step in RLCraft, but I knew I needed more defense and more attack to be able to even use the stuff they come with, so I started thinking about how to get more experience points because raiding towers was becoming a little bit old and it doesn't really give you that much XP. On day 12, I found this awesome house thingy. Now, I know inside of RLCraft that these can hold really good enchanted books, so I thought it was worth checking it out. It was on an ice mountain, so I knew I had to be careful because there's these things that spawn in the air that like to shoot you and levitate you up, and although they don't do too much damage, if you're 90,000 blocks in the air and you fall down, you will most likely die. On day 13 to 15, I decided the next step towards dragon armor would be taking on a Lycanite dungeon, which for those of you who don't know what that is, it is a crazy hard layered dungeon. As the more layers you go down, the harder it gets. But I knew I needed a little bit better stuff before I did that, so I went looting a little bit more. What the Lycanite dungeon is going to be able to do is going to give me a ton of XP from all the mobs and spawners that I fight and break, and then from there I'll be able to level up my skills enough to actually use dragon armor, and then I can start figuring out how I want to kill my first dragon. On day 16, after a little searching and a little bit more preparing, I found the Lycanite dungeon I wanted to go and get. The first thing I did was grab a water bucket, because when you're fighting these dungeons, there's usually no place to drink water, and it's also great for pushing mobs away that want to try and kill you. Sometimes you come across these inferno mobs and sometimes infernal blight mobs, and they're just absolutely insane and will one-shot you, and sometimes water can save your life. When I got down to the bottom, I started preparing for how I was going to take on this dungeon. I couldn't just run head on in because there was just too many mobs and they just had armor and some of them had enchanted stuff. I would just die instantly, so I had to do it a little bit cheeky. But these skeletons kept on spawning inside of the room and I was so confused on why they were there, and then I figured out there was a spawner, so I broke it, and then I continued this cheeky strategy. For the next, and I am not kidding you, for the next 15 days I spent inside of this dark, gloomy dungeon with these guys that wanted to rip off my head and not be my friends. It was not very nice of them. I then remembered I had a Critical Strike 2 book, so I added it to my Diamond Saber because I knew this would be so OP against some of the mobs that had less armor. I continued to pillage through the dungeon, just trying to get more XP and more XP. It's hard to determine if it's more worth it to kill the mobs or break the spawner, but in terms of my sword's durability, I decided to break spawners instead of killing all of the mobs, when I could, that is. This giant room has 3 spawners in it, and they spawn a crazy amount of mobs. It took me so long to finally complete this room. I found the passageway down for the next floor. Each floor has a staircase in only one area where you can get down to the next one. You could just mine down, but it's a lot easier just to find these staircases and go down to the next level. I'd cleared out most of the first, so I decided to move down and start doing the second level. I met this amazing creeper friend that tried to kill me, and these zombies apparently never heard of social distancing, but that was okay because I was getting a lot of experience points. I moved down to the next floor, and I knew I had to be a bit more careful because mobs were starting to get really hard, and they were starting to get prot armor. Now you might ask yourself, Nathan, why are you fighting poison spiders exactly when, just leave them alone? There's a specific reason for this, and it was because the spiders were in the most controlled environment realistically possible, and I needed to get a stone from them. Spiders can drop a bauble that give you resistance to poison, and I finally got it. It's called Bazor. So I attacked the spiders until I got it from them. I went down to the next floor. This floor I knew was crazy dangerous. It was the second to last floor on the levels. So I did my same old strategy. However, I lost the footage for this because for some reason game capture was not working. But there was a point here where I was literally down to half a heart and I almost died, and I just was able to kill the infernal zombie. I made my way down to the last floor, but I knew this floor was going to be too hard and take too long to just do on my own, so I needed to try and at least cheese it. I tried mining around the outside of it to see if I could find the main room so I could get the chests in it, but I couldn't do it, and I decided it wasn't worth the risk, so I just left. Oh, the beautiful outdoors. Just like to see the sun again. I was so miserable. Hey look, just a normal battle tower. It's just not, ooh. I decided that I needed a home, and this structure was going to be the perfect home for me. So first, I would defeat the battle tower, and then I wanted to go on and make the home my own. On day 32, I began setting up the home and putting my stuff away so that I could start adventuring. I knew if I slept here, I could just recall back and I could just store all of my items here, which would be a lot better for looting, so I wouldn't have to keep throwing out stuff that I really wanted to keep. I also set up an enchantment area because I wanted to start trying to get a good bow because I was still thinking about that dragon now that I had the experience points to actually wear the armor and the tools. On day 33 to 35, I began the enchanting process. RLCraft is a little bit different for enchants. What you can do is you can enchant a specific item to get the enchants that you want on it, and the top enchant, whatever it is, you can take off and put it onto a book using a disenchanter. This helps you make just sort of one god bow, so you're not stuck with just a bunch of random enchants on a bow that you don't want. For instance, if you're going to have mending on a bow, you can't have a bow with power 5 and unbreaking because that just doesn't make any sense. So this way you can take enchantments off. So I spent the next few days just collecting supplies for bows and collecting a little bit more experience so I could continue enchanting, so I could get those enchants that I needed to make one good bow. On day 36, I got a little bit bored of the enchanting process, so I decided to do a little bit more exploring, gain a little bit more experience, and see if I could find another one of those dungeons that we found at the beginning of the game to get me a better book. While I was flying around, I saw the top of what will be the best thing I found so far. It was a tier 5 dragon lair. These things are so hard to find when you're mining, but sometimes they poke out a little bit over the top in the overworld, so I quickly marked it on my atlas for future reference so I could come back later. I spent the next few days just over preparing, knowing that it was time to fight the dragon and that I needed the armor. I kept finding these huge dungeons that I needed to get into, but I needed the dragon armor before I could go into them, so I knew it was time to start looking at that. On day 46, while I was on the way back to my house, I found another one of the dungeons that we saw at the beginning of the game. I knew I had to loot this and grab the stuff from it, so I went back to my house to get prepared for it, and then I came back and grabbed everything that I could. On day 47, I knew it was finally time to take on the dragon. I'd been procrastinating it for long enough, so I made some god apples and I headed out looking for one. I kept finding green ones and I really didn't want green armor, but then I finally stumbled upon this red one, and I knew it was time to strike. I was so scared that I was going to just end it all here, something was going to one-shot me, and I knew I had to take the lead, and it was time to kill a dragon. I managed to boink the guy on the head a lot and shoot him with a bunch of arrows from my brand new bow, and eventually killed him. I then had to kill all those random little fire guys around that were trying to shoot me, who ended up doing more damage than he honestly did to me, and I got my first dragon kill. It was time to go and get one more dragon, and then to the big dungeons we go. On day 48 to 51, I did a little bit more exploring while I was out looking for dragons, stumbled across another one of these houses, grabbed all the loot from it, and then headed home to craft my dragon armor. I did the same strategy for enchanting. I made a bunch of diamond leggings and enchanted them, and then I was going to take the top enchantments off. I was hoping for prot 4. What I forgot was that my helmet and chestplate currently have prot 4 on them, and I could have just taken it off and then put it on the dragon armor, but I completely forgot that they had that, so I spent all of my levels enchanting. I then crafted a helmet and a chest plate. Since I didn't have a lot of scales, I didn't want to bother with leggings and boots, since if they end up breaking, there's no really big deal because your legs and your feet will break, but your head and your chest will be fine because that's the most important part in RLCraft. So I made the helmet and the chest plate out of 2 different colors, unfortunately, and then I started to enchant them with prot 4. On days 52 to 55, I knew the next step was to take on the biggest dungeon out there. It had the most amazing loot. You could find anything from mending books to regen rings to 2 tomes in 1 chest. Like, it is the most insane dungeon, but it is also the most difficult dungeon out of them all. Like, Lycanites is the roguelike dungeons are a walk in the park compared to this guy. These guys spawn wither skeletons, they spawn just crazy mobs that will absolutely wreck you, so I knew I had to be careful. So I traveled over to one of the ones that I had marked from earlier, and I knew it was time to take it on. Alright, let's go. You're dead. No, don't you blind me. Okay, let's get these vexes. Okay, this isn't so bad. Last time there was way more vexes. Okay. I haven't been in one of these since the last time I ever played RLCraft. Dang, I remember them being so difficult. Okay. I wish I could level up obsidian breaking. That'd be very handy. Okay, is there still a vex up here? Really? Just go away, dude. No, just go away. Did you see what I did to your friends? Just stop. Okay, good job. Okay, this could be a very poor idea. Do I want to jump down? Okay, I could bow. Okay, they all walked away. This is great. All right, I'm just gonna go down. Okay. Okay, hello everybody. Hello friends. No. Okay, my water trick. Okay, let's get in here. Alright, let's push these mobs away. Okay, this isn't helping very much. Everyone's still shooting me. Is this everything? Okay, let's check. Okay, Relief X. Alright, so this chest. Okay, there's nothing too good in here. I don't really care. That's weird because some of the chests are really hit and miss. Like some of them have crazy loot, and then some of them just like don't have a lot. And it's like, what's up, dude? Okay, stop it, stop. Okay, there's still another spawn. Are you kidding me? Okay, I'm gonna break this cobweb. Okay, stop spawning. Okay. Oh my goodness, my health. Oh, I need to drink water. Okay, stop. Why is? Okay, why don't these guys have axes? By the way, don't they supposed to have axes? Okay, that's dead. Okay, I need to drink water here really quick. Otherwise, I'm going to definitely perish. Okay, let's drink that. Alright. Let's see. What do we got in this chest? Okay, so... Okay, we got a tome, a heart container. That's good. Okay, stop it. Okay. Alright. We got a tome. Oh, frick. Yes, we got gas tiers. Let's go. Okay, gas tiers are really good because you can make a regen ring with them if you have another star, which, of course, we have. We have one of them that we got from the Battle Tower. Right, and then last chest. Okay, what's that? You're kidding me. Now I get a potion of... Now I get a ring of regen? Okay, see, like, regens aren't that overpowered, but what they enable you to do is passively heal. Essentially, they do what food is supposed to do in this mod pack. They're not going to save your life, but, like, they're kind of useful. On day 56, I decided it was time to take on the Mother Dragon. I really wanted a dragon of my own, and these tier 5 dragons, they can drop actual dragon eggs, and tier 6s can drop up to 2 eggs. So depending on how big this dragon is, I might actually be able to get 1 to 2 eggs from it, and get all the scales I need. They drop like a stack of scales. This way, before I have mending on all of my armor, I can actually repair it with the scales. Otherwise, I need to go out and find that specific color of dragon, and it's just really annoying. On day 57, we arrived at the dragon lair. I knew I had to do kind of a cheeky strategy because sometimes the dragon likes to fly away and not come back. So I decided to dig a little bit of a hole and shoot at him with a bow. However, he still decided to fly away, so I had to end up chasing him to try and kill him. After the dragon ran away, I quickly got out to my Reiko and I began to follow his blazing fire trail that he had left behind him. I finally caught up to him, and the battle of my first tier 5 dragon began. On days 58 to 70, I knew the next step after killing the dragon was to get even stronger armor and then take on the Lycanite's dungeon. You need to take on the Lycanite's dungeon to win the game because you need certain soul stones from them to be able to go then and spawn the main bosses that really tell that you've beaten RLCraft. To do that though, I needed better armor and I needed more experience, so I decided to take on some more towers and some more different dungeons before I ended up having to go on to a Lycanite dungeon. I finished off day 70 with my last dungeon, and I went from day 71 to 75 preparing for the first Lycanite dungeon. I knew this dungeon was super hard, so I was getting every enchant that I could on every piece of armor that I could find. On day 76 and 77, I felt fully prepared to take on the first Lycanite dungeon. I went and killed every single one of the bosses. This is super important because each one of the bosses drops a soul stone. You can use that soul stone to then recreate the boss as your pet, or use it in a crafting recipe to spawn an even stronger boss. This was one of the easier Lycanite dungeons, but it was still no walk in the park. I spent day 78 through 82 in the next Lycanite dungeon. This dungeon was way harder than the previous one, but I still managed to kill all of the bosses. This was really good because each boss obviously drops the soul stone in accordance to whichever boss it is, and these bosses are super strong. The last boss even spawned as a blight. I wish when I respawn him he would also respawn as a blight, but I don't think that's going to be the way it goes. I had to make a decision at this point. Did I want to keep on dungeoning, or did I want to try and attack the strongest bosses? I knew my armor and enchants were nowhere near strong enough, so I knew I had to continue looting. But the current strategy of looting just wasn't working. I knew I needed shulker boxes, and I knew I needed to get them from the end. But to do that, I had to go to the end and face the Ender Dragon before I could leave. So I was going to start preparing for that after this Lycanite dungeon. I decided I would take a little break from dungeoning and actually create a house. Well, sort of create a house. I decided I wanted to find a better place to live other than my little tower thing, so I went searching for a new house on day 83. I finally stumbled across this cool temple thing, and although there was no loot in it, it really seemed like a cool entranceway with the two guards sitting there, and I thought of a cool idea I could do to sort of open up the back a bit and have a nice little spot for all of my items and where I want to enchant stuff and so on. I spent day 84 to 86 renovating the back of the house and clearing out some of the stone for an actual place to place things. On day 87, when I was transferring some items back and forth to the new house, a random dragon decided to attack me. I understand that I killed a lot of his kinfolk, but I swear I was not picking a fight with him. Come on, man. I spent day 88 doing some organizing at the house, some general cleanup, and eating my sub that just got delivered to me. It was a great day. On day 89 and 90, I decided it was time to start looking for the Ender Dragon. I started looking for the portal using my Eyes of Ender that I collected from battle towers, and blaze rods that I'd also collected from battle towers. It was time to take on the Minecraft boss himself. On day 91, we actually found the end portal finally after looking through that thing for way too long. It was through a wall. Like, I feel like there's supposed to be a pathway to it. I literally had to mine through a wall to get to it. There was no pathway into it. I don't know. Whatever. We found the ender portal, but of course, we were one ender pearl short. On day 92, we went out and we found this guy, took his battle tower down, and then stole his blaze rod so we can make our final ender eye. On day 93, I felt like it was finally time to face the Ender Dragon. So I finished off my cookies from Subway, and I decided it was time to venture into the end and take on what once was Minecraft's ultimate boss. Here is a montage of the Ender Dragon fight. Enjoy. to bed for the final time. I spent days 97 to 99 transferring the remainder of my items back to my new house and getting ready to start looking for golem armor so I could start taking on the next step in RLCraft, which would be taking on the Lycanite bosses to finish the pack off in the next upcoming 100 days. Day 100, the final day of the RLCraft first 100 series. Honestly, it was absolutely amazing to play this. It was so much fun. I never thought I could push it this far, this quickly. Like, on day 6, we were in diamond armor. On day 40 something, we were in dragon armor. Like, this was just an insane series. So I took day 100 to just kind of Google the skills a bit more and understand where I wanted to go for the next 200 days and set a good benchmark for where I wanted to be. On day 200 of the next video, I really want to be taking on the absolute best bosses and Lycanites with maxed out golem armor, maxed out sea serpent chestplate, maxed out gear, mending on everything, advanced sharpness, advanced protection. I want absolutely everything. If you guys want to see that video, drop a like below, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.